It was seemingly a very talented 2025 NBA draft class where the Raptors did not have the lottery luck on their side. That being said, with the 9th overall pick, they took Collin Murray-Boyles, who has looked quite good, I think, to start off his NBA career. Nothing necessarily spectacular, but a real solid professional, it seems that the Raptors have, that has improved quite a lot in the offseason and may look to continue improving over the course of his NBA career. But I know it's early on in the career of these players, but I recently saw an article that redrafted the 2025 class after like 25, 30 games that were in this season. And I was rather upset, let's say, with where Collin Murray-Boyles was on this list. And, of course, the article comes from Bleacher Report. A lot of the articles on Bleacher Report, I'll remind you how a lot of the Bleacher Report system works. A lot of it is directly made to drive engagement. Now, I'm not suggesting that these authors or these creators are specifically creating content as rage bait necessarily, though some people saw this article and did say that directly that this article was rage bait, but I don't perceive it that way. I think people are just looking for articles that get people talking. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're like fabricating their stance. I'm not saying that at all. But it's also important to remember about Bleacher Report is that they're often finding freelance creators to create the content for that. They don't have like a Bleacher Report staff on hand necessarily all the time for people writing. So anyways, this article written here by Greg Swartz, it made me question how much basketball Greg Swartz watches, unfortunately, for a variety of reasons. And I've seen it. I know where Murray-Boyles is. We will get to where Collin Murray-Boyles is. But first off, Cooper Flagg goes first. He hasn't been the most impressive rookie so far this season, and the article does mention that. But, like, I still agree. Cooper Flagg was the best player coming into this class. You still expect him to have the best career out of all these players. I think a good example of a player kicking on after a few years is like Cade Cunningham, where in a redraft right now, I'd take Cade Cunningham first. 2 years ago, I probably wouldn't have, but now I would. I think Cooper Flagg's the most talented player with the most potential. I agree with him going first. Second, Dylan Harper has dealt with an injury this season, but I think the Spurs would stay on course with that and take Dylan Harper here. But I think they'd consider someone else. Who they would consider would not be VJ Edgecombe. Was great to start the season, has cooled off, as the article says. But yeah, some of the efficiency has become a bit of a concern. Some of the decision-making has become a bit of a concern. And I'll tell you who has not been concerning out the gate. Colin Murray-Boyles, who looks like an absolute baller, has been the best rookie so far to start this season. I think if the draft was redone, I think he'd probably go third. And I think you can make a case he goes second. Colin Murray-Boyles looks like the real deal and a guy that I think the Hornets should build around going forward. Like, I think this makes it a lot. Like, if they want to hit a reset again and move off LaMelo and Brandon Miller, I think this is a guy that would entice them to do that. I'm a real big fan of Colin Murray-Boyles, and there's no way, I think, to me, he goes fourth in a redraft. Fifth, you have Cedric Coward. That's probably accurate with the way he's played this season. Ace Bailey going sixth. That's also probably has some accuracy to it. Jeremiah Fears 7. Think that's also fine. He's been great. Derek Queen 8, I think that's also fine. Derek Queen has been great this season. I think you could even make a case Derek Queen goes a bit higher. I was pretty low on Derek Queen going into the draft, primarily because he's not a good defender, which he isn't, by the way. He still isn't. That can change. But he hasn't been a good defender. But he's on the Pelicans, so they suck and it's fine. He's been good. Because on offense, I was worried that he's not a good defender who doesn't shoot the ball well from three, doesn't put a lot of pressure on the rim. Essentially, Derek Queen can only thrive as being like your offensive hub on offense. And in order to be able to play that role, you have to be so good that a team is willing to play through you as that kind of offensive hub. Well, it turns out he is that good in that role. He's been getting a lot of minutes there. He's been excellent this season. So a lot of respect for what Derek Queen is doing, but his defense is still concerned. But I still think that this spot is where a team would largely consider taking him. 9 is Trey Johnson, who I'm not like completely sold on him going in this spot. But he's shooting all right this season. I see the development, but I'm not sold on him maybe being in this spot. Kalkbrenner going all the way up to the 10th spot after getting originally drafted in the second round. I think that makes sense. Looks like a quality center here who defends the rim really well. Good defensive player for the position. Kind of guy that teams are looking for right now. I think that makes sense. Now we're kind of going off the rails here. Yegor Diomin was a big reach for the Nets when they took him where they did, which was 8th overall. And I don't think that puts him this high here. There is like intrigue here for the position, but I'm not super convinced he should be this high. But the most egregious thing about this list, Collin Murray-Boyles at number 12. I mean, Noah Isang, however you pronounce it, who I was pretty high on going through the draft, he suffered a season-ending injury first of all, but he also underwhelmed in his time on court in the G League. Murray-Boyles has been extremely underwhelming so far. And I'm not trying to count out a center here. I'm not trying to count out a center because centers take a bit longer to develop. He could become a fantastic player with the athletic traits he has. But he's struggled out the gates. The Suns have been good, but he wasn't able to really crack the team. He's been sent down to the G League on 2 separate occasions. Again, I'm not saying he's not going to be a good player, but I think it's incredibly egregious to put him ahead of Collin Murray-Boyles, who's at 13. Like, I guess there is a consideration towards the team that they're getting drafted to on this list, and it's not just a rank of the rookies. But to me, I'm not sold on Murray-Boyles being below Trey Johnson, Yegor Diomin, or Collin Murray-Boyles based on the way he has started this season. I'm not gonna quite get on board with that. Absolutely not. Like, Collin Murray-Boyles this season has maybe not statistically been fantastic, but he's averaged 7 points per game. He's averaged 55.3% from the field. He's averaging 48% from 3 on a low sample, but he's made 12 threes this season, which is more than he made in his entire collegiate career. So the 3-point ball is improving. He is a very talented defender, and I think the best part about his game is that he's a very intelligent, high IQ player as well. Like, he's always making the right reads, it seems. He's always making the right decisions. Feels like a real pro out there on the floor for the Raptors, which is why I've been impressed with him, and which is why I was pretty stunned with his positioning on that redraft. Granted, these guys have played 20 to 30 games. It's so early. It's tough to get eyes on all these players. I get that, but feels like quite a bit of an underrated ranking there.